Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so this video is going to be about boys. um I kind of was just like experiencing like guys in my surrounding, like when I'm out or when I'm just by myself, or just guys in general, comparing them to how guys would like act with me before and after. I'm just gonna babble on about guys actually. Okay, so I'm in my room and it's kind of bright up in here. Whatever, I can't help it. But actually I should put this behind me so my body doesn't break. Okay, I'm just making it worse. Okay, boys. So I'm just gonna kind of talk about shit that I've been thinking about, and I kind of want to just put it on video. And I haven't done a video in a few days, so here's a new video about boys. It's kind of like my version of this dude named Michael used to drive motorcycles. So I am just gonna kind of talk about some experiences I came across recently, and then I think I want to talk about a few guys that I've hooked up with, even though I don't really talk about that. So if that's an uncomfortable subject for you, or you don't want to hear it, or you're a family member of mine or a close friend that doesn't want to hear that, stop watching right now. Or if you hear me like, I don't know, just don't watch. Bye. That's it. The video's over. Follow me on Twitter. Okay. But for those of you who do want to hear it, I'm gonna start off by saying like I don't even know where to start, but I'll start it at this. I don't like a lot of my friends don't like go. A lot of my friends are like gay, so they don't like going to straight clubs. So a lot of the time I'm not stuck, but I end up going to a gay bar or a gay club with my friends. So I don't, once in a while I'll see some straight guys that are like, you know, more into talking to me. That thinking about it, there's actually a good place to start. I wasn't going to start with it. I wasn't even going to talk about that, but just actually thinking about being at the gay bar and the whole straight guy thing. I'll start there because there's a story that kind of goes with this. There was a guy at the bar who is there a lot. I see him a lot at this bar in Ventura. I'm called Patty's. And I can tell he's like a straight guy. He goes with some of his girlfriends who go, like coworkers and stuff. And I do see him there quite often. I mean, at least when I go. I've seen him there on different occasions. So this guy, I ended up sitting next to him at the bar, and he started talking to me because we ended up taking the same shot. We took a shot of Patron. He's like, oh, you took what I took. So we're talking, and so my friend is there with me, and we're just kind of like hanging out and just talking to people. And so he goes, he's talking to me, goes, oh, your friend's a guy. And I'm like looking at him like, no, she's a girl. It's like looking at me like confused, and I'm like, she's transgender. So he's like, oh. So he was a little drunk, but not drunk enough to not get it. We're having like a good conversation, so I believe he wasn't that drunk. So he starts kind of like not understanding. So there I am for like 30 minutes, like 30 minutes before they're closing, explaining to him what transgender means, and like, oh, well, you know, it's not a guy, we were born male and we're transitioning. So he's talking to me, and he's a nice guy. He just kind of like ignorant to the situation, but I kind of was like, you're here a lot. You're here at a gay club a lot to not know enough about trans people to kind of sound insulting and ignorant. So I was kind of just trying to explain it to him nicely, because I can tell he didn't understand it. He thought it was okay to call trans girls guys. So I kind of was helping him with that, but ew, I just burped. I was kind of helping him with that, and I feel like he's kind of getting it. But then throughout the conversation, he was kind of just talking to me nice. He's like, well, you know, like, don't you think that if you don't have the surgery that you shouldn't be considered a girl? I'm like, no, because it's not based on what's down there. Not all girls are. It's a risky procedure. It's an expensive procedure that not everybody can do. If you look, I don't know all the fucking numbers, but if you look at statistics, like, it's kind of hard for a trans person, not trans guys, but trans girls to get jobs, and not everybody can afford to get sexual reassignment surgery. So I was kind of explaining that to him, and he's like, well, so he starts with the whole Caitlyn Jenner thing, which is a whole other story, and I'm like, no, you can't say that. Even if it's Caitlyn Jenner, like, same, like, you, it's like, well, she has the money to do it. I'm like, yeah, but it's, again, it's a risky procedure that you can't just be like, okay, let me do it. I mean, she just started transitioning like a year or two ago, I think it was a year ago or more, I don't know, but it hasn't been that long, and I'm like, I've been transitioning longer than she has, so I kind of had to put it in that perspective to him. But then he also, I was like, what? Because the guy, he goes, well, isn't it harder for you to, you know, talk to guys? I'm like, not really. Like, I'm pretty open about it. And if I'm talking to a guy, I make sure that's one of the first things that not one of the first things, I kind of assume, and maybe I shouldn't do this, but I kind of assume that they know, already. But if not, even if it hasn't come up, I bring it up. I'll be like, by the way, just to let you know, I'm transgender. Most of the guys, I think, like, out of all the guys that I've talked to, hooked up with, whatever, only one didn't know. I'll tell you that story too. So, but yeah, so back to the guy. So he's like, well, like, if you had the surgery, I would totally have sex with you. And I'm like, well, I mean, like, I'm not trying to get with you, first of all. Second of all, you're not really my type. He's a good looking guy, but he was not a tall white boy. Okay? He was like a Mexican guy, probably like 5'8". I'm 5'7". I was wearing heels. He was about my height. I mean, if I had more drinks, maybe I'd be like, okay, whatever, let's go. But I wasn't. So that's the story about that guy. So that same night, we went to this other place called the Tavern, and I was wearing like a shirt, like a pendulum top, and it went down like this, and all this was lace. And then I was wearing just like some jeans and some black heels. So I didn't have time to get ready. I kind of got ready last minute. We decided to go out last minute. So she was wearing some little shorts and like a low cut shirt with no bra, just the boobs were showing. Her hair was done. She looked good. So guys could come up to us and kind of like talking to us, and I could hear them talking about her because she goes to 24 Hour Fitness. And I would hear guys say like, oh, she goes to 24. She goes to 24. So it kind of became an inside joke too. But whatever about the guys. It's just funny how guys, like, some guys would come up and talk to us, and then some girls were like dogging us out. Some girls were like smiling at us kind of fakely, but a lot of guys were obviously paying attention to her, and then I guess maybe because I had a low cut shirt or whatever. But they after I left this place, like, I have a Tinder account that I kind of like mess with when I'm bored. This is after everything, after the bar closed, and we're in an Uber back home. I get a message on Instagram from a guy, and he's like, oh, I saw you tonight at Tavern. Right when I left, you came up on my Tinder, and then from Tinder I found your Instagram. So he messaged me on Instagram. He didn't have pictures. It was just like nobody followed him. He didn't follow anybody. And I was like, okay, like, and this is kind of like I don't understand why, like, somebody wouldn't just, if they wanted to talk to me, why they didn't just talk to me like at the bar. But he didn't, and I don't know who he was, and he was just kind of like, oh, and I was like, okay, well, I didn't know what he wanted me to say, so I was like, okay, cool, well, nice talking to you and whatever. I kind of like erased the messages, and he didn't message me anymore. So that was a little story that happened with that. That place tavern though, a lot of cute guys go there, and back when I had my apartment, I like went home, went home with a few guys from there. But it's funny because like in that moment when I'm like drinking and they're drinking and we're just kind of like dancing and having fun, and you end up like making out with somebody. Um, I don't just go like, hey, I'm transgender. But there was two guys, one guy, two guys from tavern that I went home with, and one of them like I was kind of drunk that time, and we went home and we're in my apartment, and I was like so drunk, and he was like taking his clothes off, and I was like kind of getting super tired, and I'm like, can you call your Uber already? He's like, what? Are you serious? I was like, yeah, I'm tired. And I was like, call your Uber. And then he like called his Uber and left. This other guy though, he spent the night. And yeah, like he knew though. I told him before we went home. I was like, by the way, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And so yeah, he was cool with it. And like, I don't know if he already knew or, but he was like whatever with it. And so we did what we did, and he went home. I've seen him around a few times, and one time, like I was walking with my friends, and he kind of like tapped me, and I was like, "Who's tapping me?" And like he did it all like secretly, like so his friends wouldn't notice. But I was like, whatever. I was already over him, and whatever. And then there was another guy too. We went to get drinks at Patty's, a 2 for 1, and he was there. I don't know. I don't remember what happened that night, but I was drunk and I just made him go home with me, and he went with me. But we didn't like do anything. We just like hung out. The point of the story is that it trips me out how like the main thing that I'm trying to say about it is that it trips me out when guys like they're okay with like I've gotten messages from guys on Facebook, on like dating sites, and they'll be like, oh, I saw you here, I saw you there, and I'm like, how come you don't have like the balls to like say hi? Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, this guy's trying to get with me, I'm transgender, everybody, like it's like, come on, like you need to learn how to treat people like how you would anybody else. And I guess it's a society thing maybe, and it takes some getting used to. Do you guys like my wig? This is a wig. If you guys can't tell, this is a wig. My hair does not look like this. I just kind of bought it because sometimes I don't want to do my hair, and this is today's one of those days. But I really like it because it's the same. It's about the same length as my actual hair, but it's already done, and then like it's a lace front wig, so whatever. I like it. I think it's a little shiny, but it'll go away. But yeah, the moral of the story is that guys like should just be okay with like talking to me. I've been hit on a few times before, but it's usually by old men at CVS, to be precisely. Like there was one guy, I think I told you guys before, he was following me around and he kept coming up to me and talking to me. There was another guy though the other day. It was funny because I was out of it. I get out of it sometimes when I'm couponing. And so I was looking for a coupon like all crazy, and he just walks up and he goes, who died and made you so cute? And I was like, my parents. Like I guess in my brain, he's kind of just like trying to like flirt. He was an old man, and I was like, oh, my parents. Like my parents died and made me this cute. I should have been like, all these hormone pills and all the pounds of makeup I wear, and now there's a weave that I set out my weave in. But no, there's another guy that I wanted to talk about. That was I actually met him. I don't even want to tell this story because that's a little extra. A little extra. I should just kind of say, I'm going to say it, but I'm not going to get into details because I thought I was going to be okay with getting into details with stuff, but I'm really not okay with it. So I'm just going to kind of tell you a little bit. There's this guy that I met. I actually met him here at my house. He stopped to ask me a question, so I'm not going to get into detail about that either. He stopped to ask me a question, and he ended up giving me his phone number. And I gave him mine, and I'm like, you call me, I'm not gonna call you. And I even like tore up his number. I'm like, he was good looking, but I was like, I'm not gonna call you, you can call me. That's how we just kind of chatted. I didn't mention anything about dating or anything. He was just like, oh, what do you do for fun? Like, how long have you lived here? And I had just moved back to my parents' house the day before, and I was like, I just moved back here yesterday. And it turned out he lived a block from me when I lived in my old apartment. Anyway, I never heard from him. And then one day, like, month later, he called me, and I was like, who is this? Like, a month later, literally like a month to the date. He's like, hey, it's, you know, what's his name? I'm gonna call him Peter. Hey, it's Peter, you know, we met at your house. You gave me your number. And this is like at 1 a.m. Obviously, he was calling for a reason. Now, he was like, so, you know, do you want to like hang out? And I was like out with my friends, and I was like, fuck it, I'll hang out. So he came and he like picked me up, and we were just like talking, hanging out in his car. And then we were like making out. And I felt like it was gonna go further, and I don't like doing stuff in cars because it feels ghetto to me, but whatever. I was whatever. He kind of like, my hand went places, so his hand was going places, and I kept moving it, and he was like, oh, I feel so weird talking about this because I never talk about this, but I kind of want to share this because it happened. Don't judge me, but he was trying to like, you know, touch me, and I was like, fuck, we've never discussed this. So I was like, I'm like, I just kind of like went like this, and I'm like, hey, I'm transgender, blah 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 blah, and he was kind of looking at me like, no, you're not. I was like, yes, I am, and he's like, you're lying, and I was like, I'm not lying, like, and I kind of got pissed off, and I was like, you know what, just take me home. He's like, why? I was like, I'm over this, take me home. And he was like, no, 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 it's okay, I don't care, I don't judge, I didn't know. And I was like, all right. And then we ended up making out and blah 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 blah. That's the end of the story. Yeah, I feel weird talking about stuff like that, but I guess I'm being a little more open with you guys, but still I feel weird. But I just kind of wanted to talk about boys and how sometimes they annoy the shit out of me with their bullshit about messaging me on fucking Facebook and fucking Tinder, Instagram. I've gotten a few Instagram ones. I got a message from this guy too, like probably like 2 weeks ago. No picture, and it said, hey, I went to high school with you, I think you're fucking hot, we should, you know, F. And I was like, what? And like literally, like, this was like at like 10 at night, and I was like, whatever. The next morning, like, he blocked me, he deleted everything, and I couldn't see the message anymore. And I was like, oh, I wonder who it was. So that trips me on too, like how many guys from high school, like, I ran into this guy at the grocery store, and he was like, because my ID doesn't say my old name, my ID says Angelica now. He carded me, he worked at a grocery store. And so he was like, oh, we're the same age. And I'm like, we went to high school together. He's looking at me like, we did? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, you can't not recognize me. Like, I mean, I look different, but not fucking significantly different for you not to recognize. I seen people that knew me from high school and they know it's me. So I don't look that different for him not to recognize me. I don't know if he was acting stupid or not, but whatever. But thanks for watching this video. I hope it wasn't like weird or stupid. I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about what I kind of think about these things when I'm driving, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna make a video about this. So yeah, I'm hoping that you guys like the video when it's interesting, or if any of you guys are, whether you're cis, trans, whatever you want to say you are, have you ever been in a situation like this? What do you think about it? What do you think about guys doing that, like not talking to you in person, and then messaging you online? You know what's happened a few times? These married guys will message me too on Instagram or Facebook, and I just block them because, well, I don't want to go with a married guy. The fuck? So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and like always, follow me on Instagram at badgirlangie, tweet me at badgirlangie805, And a lot of you guys are following me on Snapchat, which is cool. You guys can see my story. Snapchat me at Selmy805. I'm still debating whether I'm going to change that or not, okay? And don't forget to subscribe. Love you guys.